A host of tech CEOs has constantly said the constant sanctions by the US and European Union to keep China's growth reduced is hurting their business. And they also said these sanctions are not working. It can only slow the growth, but ultimately, they will still get the semiconductor. For example, Nvidia and A.S.M.L has lost billions of dollars as a result of the sanctions on China, and China was still able to achieve the production of self-made chip technology. This is because there are so many ways to bypass these sanctions. For example, the sanctions on Russia is also not working because it's easy for Russia to work with Turkey or the UAE companies to bypass these sanctions. It's important to see the impact of sanctions very closely and why they are not effective. Stay with us to the end as we unbundle the reasons sanctions against China fail. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. The U.S. trade restrictions on China's chip industry were intended to impede the nation's technological advancements, particularly in the semiconductor sector. However, the effectiveness of these sanctions is increasingly being questioned. Robert Mayer, president of Semiconductor Advisors, expressed a contrary view, suggesting that the sanctions have, paradoxically, accelerated China's efforts in the semiconductor realm. This assertion is also echoed by Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, who has consistently argued that the sanctions will only temporarily slow China's progress, not halt it. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots, so your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. The primary aim of the U.S. export restrictions is to prevent China from acquiring advanced chips that could be used for military purposes, including those with applications in artificial intelligence. As a consequence, China has been barred from accessing the latest graphics processors from companies like Nvidia and AMD. Additionally, the sanctions have targeted imports of high-end semiconductor equipment into China. However, Chinese companies have been adept at circumventing these restrictions, amassing a variety of other equipment to manufacture chips, some of which the U.S. had intended to block. The last quarter, Chinese chipmakers with Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation (SMIAT) at the forefront heavily invested in equipment from Applied Materials, A.S.M.L, Kala, and Lam Research. These purchases have led to semiconductor stocks trading near or at record highs. China's response to these sanctions has been to accelerate its equipment orders, preemptively securing what they can before more stringent restrictions are imposed. This rush has contributed significantly to the increased sales of semiconductor gear to China, which, according to Mare, accounts for nearly half of the global sales in this sector. Peter Winnink, CEO of A.S.M.L, a Dutch lithography company, has labeled the China chip sanctions as largely ineffective. This sentiment is supported by the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, which, in a 741-page report, downplayed the impact of these trade curbs. The commission noted that despite U.S. restrictions, Chinese firms have been able to purchase U.S. semiconductor equipment for making chips at the 14-nanometer node or smaller. The inability to effectively monitor the end use of this equipment has led to challenges in ensuring it is not used for advanced chip production. A stark example of the sanctions' limited impact is Huawei's introduction of its Mate 60 Pro smartphone, utilizing SMIC's 7nm Kirin 9000's chip. This development contradicts the widespread belief that China would not be able to produce chips below 14 or 10 nanometers. Mayer predicts that China will soon be capable of manufacturing 5nm chips, although it still lags behind leading chip foundries like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing and South Korea's Samsung, which are currently producing 3nm scale chips. China's aggressive procurement of semiconductor equipment has significantly boosted sales for companies in the chip gear segment. For instance, Applied Materials reported that 44 of its sales in the quarter ending October 29 came from China, a substantial increase from 28 a year earlier. Similarly, A.S.M.L sales in China surged, accounting for 46% of its Q3 revenue. Despite being a primary target of trade restrictions due to its lithography equipment for making leading-edge chips, and Lam Research also reported substantial increases in their sales to China. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. Yet, this surge in buying by China could lead to unintended consequences for the U.S. chip industry, potentially resulting in a glut of chips on the market. The equipment China is acquiring is largely for producing mature node foundry and logic chips, as well as trailing-edge DRAM memory chips. Mayer warns that this could lead to an oversupply of lower-priced chips for applications not requiring cutting-edge technology, such as in automobiles, appliances, and consumer electronics. This oversupply could adversely affect semiconductor stocks, including those of Global Foundries and Micron Technology. Furthermore, there are growing concerns about the long-term effects of these trade curbs on the U.S.-China technological rivalry. Barclays, an investment bank, posits that the U.S. export controls against China might be inadvertently accelerating China's progress towards technological self-sufficiency. The Chinese government's financial backing of the country's semiconductor industry is a significant factor in this development. Consequently, Barclays suggests that export controls may not be the ultimate solution and could be losing their effectiveness in curtailing China's technological advancement. The U.S. chip sanctions against China, intended to slow down China's progress in the semiconductor industry, appear to be having mixed effects. On one hand, they have temporarily limited China's access to cutting-edge technology and equipment. On the other hand, they have spurred China to accelerate its efforts towards self-sufficiency in semiconductor technology, with significant investments in the sector and a strategic focus on circumventing these restrictions. This dynamic suggests that the U.S. may need to reassess its approach to trade restrictions and consider alternative strategies to address the challenges posed by China's rapidly advancing technological capabilities. The current policy, while impactful in some respects, does not seem to be delivering the intended long-term results and may require a more nuanced and multifaceted approach. The implications of the U.S. sanctions against China in the semiconductor industry extend far beyond the immediate operational challenges faced by Chinese companies. These sanctions have set in motion a series of global strategic shifts and reactions that merit close examination. Firstly, the push for self-sufficiency in China is not just a response to current restrictions. It's part of a broader, long-term strategic goal. The Chinese government has been ramping up its efforts and investments in the semiconductor industry, aiming to reduce its dependence on foreign technology. This drive is encapsulated in initiatives like Made in China 2025, which seeks to advance domestic expertise in core technologies by forcing China to focus inward for its semiconductor needs. The U.S. sanctions may inadvertently be accelerating China's progress towards technological independence. Secondly, the sanctions have global supply chain implications. The semiconductor industry is highly globalized, with intricate supply chains spanning multiple countries. U.S. sanctions disrupt these networks, forcing companies worldwide to reevaluate their supply chains and potentially seek alternative sources. This disruption can lead to increased costs, delays in production, and a general sense of uncertainty in the market, impacting not just Chinese firms but global semiconductor consumers and producers. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. Moreover, the sanctions have triggered a wave of technological nationalism, not only in China but in other countries as well. Nations are increasingly recognizing the strategic importance of having a self-sufficient semiconductor industry. This realization is leading to increased government investments in chip research and development across the globe, potentially reshaping the global semiconductor landscape in the long run. The economic ramifications of these sanctions are significant as well. For U.S. companies that were previously major suppliers to Chinese tech firms, the sanctions mean a loss of significant revenue streams. While some of this loss might be offset by increased sales in other markets or to other customers, the sheer size of the Chinese market makes it a critical loss for many firms. In the short term, this could lead to financial strains for these companies, and in the long term, it might result in a loss of global market share as Chinese companies develop their own competing technologies. Furthermore, there is a concern about the potential for retaliatory measures from China. China could impose its own sanctions or restrictions on U.S. companies, or it could choose to favor domestic producers over foreign ones in its rapidly growing internal market. Such measures could have significant adverse effects on U.S. businesses, especially those in the technology sector that rely on the Chinese market for a substantial portion of their sales. The U.S. sanctions also raise important ethical and legal questions. The use of trade restrictions as a tool to hinder the technological advancement of a rival power brings into question the principles of free trade and the global economic order established post-World War II. It challenges the norms of international trade and raises concerns about the weaponization of trade policies. Additionally, there are questions about the impact of these sanctions on global innovation. By restricting the flow of technology and ideas, the sanctions could slow the pace of global innovation in the semiconductor industry, affecting advancements that have wide-ranging applications in various fields. The U.S. sanctions against China in the semiconductor industry must be viewed in the broader context of U.S.-China relations. These sanctions are part of a larger geopolitical struggle between the two powers, encompassing issues of trade, technology, security, and global influence. The sanctions are not just about semiconductors. They are a manifestation of a deeper strategic competition. This competition is likely to define international relations in the coming decades and will have far-reaching consequences for global governance, economic policies, and technological development. While the U.S. chip sanctions against China aim to slow down China's technological advancements and protect U.S. national security interests, their effectiveness and long-term impact are questionable. They have spurred China's push towards self-sufficiency, disrupted global supply chains, and contributed to technological nationalism around the world. They have economic, ethical, and legal implications and are part of a larger geopolitical struggle between the U.S. and China. As such, these sanctions represent a complex and multifaceted issue that requires careful consideration and strategic foresight. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.